We are here today to discuss Financial Aid 101, Funding a College Education. First, I always like to begin these presentations to go over a senior year checklist. Basically, this is a synopsis of a high school student's senior year, broken into the two semesters, the fall and spring semester. During the fall semester of a student's senior year, you should be considering taking and retaking the ACT, SAT. All right. I know many of you, especially if you are a public high school student here in the state of Tennessee, many of you have at least taken the ACT once during your junior year. However, I usually joke, unless you have achieved that 36 perfect score, you have room for improvement, and you should take the ACT and or consider taking the SAT, because from a scholarship perspective, a lot of those scholarships are going to be based upon that best ACT, SAT, that best standardized test score. So first and foremost, take and retake the ACT and or consider taking the SAT during the fall semester of your senior year. Next, apply to several different colleges. All right, don't put all your eggs in one basket. A lot of you probably will have a dream school, but understand, the college admissions process is competitive. So there are no guarantees that you will be admitted into every school that you apply to or your dream school in this instance. So, we encourage you to apply to several different institutions. And what we mean by this is apply for admissions, all right? You need to be aware and be cognizant of deadlines, because a lot of these colleges now have admissions deadlines. But beyond that, since we are talking about paying for college, you also need to be cognizant regarding scholarship deadlines. A lot of these colleges now have scholarship deadlines in addition to the college admissions deadlines. So please apply to several colleges and be cognizant of their deadlines and just their application process as it relates to admissions, as it relates to scholarships, and everything else. All right, so focus on doing that your fall semester. And then finally, complete local and private scholarship applications that may be available. A lot of times what we see in the fall semester is there are a lot of national scholarships that are out there that you can apply for. Scholarships like the Coca-Cola Scholarship generally has approximately a Halloween deadline. And some of these national scholarships that, yes, sure, you're competing, sometimes against tens of thousands of high school seniors, but it's one of those things. If you don't apply, you never know. So we encourage you to complete any local and private scholarship applications that your school counselor lets you know of, or that you may find on your own by visiting the scholarship websites. And that's really it in the fall. Now we transition into the spring semester. So as soon as you enjoy the Christmas holiday with your family and then watch the ball drop for New Year's, this is the time that you need to consider completing the free application for federal student aid. If you are a senior from the class of 2015, you specifically will need to complete the 2015-16 FAFSA, which will be available January 1st of 2015. Again, the FAFSA stands for the free application for federal student aid. That's going to be very important, and we will cover that here towards the end of the presentation more than just right here. But understand, completing the FAFSA as soon as possible on or after January 1st is something that we're going to highly encourage you to do. Next, continue applying for local and private scholarship applications. Much like I said in the fall semester, these are scholarships that a lot of times your school counselor will let you know about. Also, these are scholarships that you might find yourself. But specifically in the spring semester, a lot of the local scholarship applications become available. And again, this information is going to be communicated by your school counselor. So if you meet the requirements for a local scholarship, you will be encouraged definitely to apply for it. And then finally, as you kind of complete this process, we're going to encourage you to review your college acceptances, because sometime during the spring, these colleges will let you know whether or not you've been accepted or not from an admissions perspective. at those colleges that you've been admitted and accepted to, a lot of these colleges will follow up with a financial aid award letter. You need to review this financial aid award letter to determine what you qualify for. And obviously, if you have any questions about that letter, you need to follow up with the institution to ask those questions. And guys, you hear this perhaps all your life, but understand, there are no silly questions, right? You need to be encouraged to ask any questions that you have all along this process, not just now in the spring semester, but all throughout this process, because we don't want you not understanding something fully because you thought it was a silly question or what have you. Anyways, that is a synopsis of the senior year of high school. So now let's kind of transition into cost and talking more about financial aid. So why are you even having to endure this presentation here? It's because, unlike those of you who are attending public high schools, attending college, whether public, private, 2-year, 4-year, in-state, out-of-state, these colleges, for the most part, are going to cost you money. At least they're going to charge you something on the front end, right? Every college has or will have what's known as its cost of attendance, all right? This is a term that for those of you who have gone through personal finance at your high schools, you probably learned about a term known as a budget. Well, cost of attendance is essentially a budget of your potential cost that you may incur for one given academic year of college. All right? There are two types of costs that make up your cost of attendance. There's your direct cost, and then there are your indirect costs. All right? So what are the differences? Your direct costs are those things in which the college is going to directly bill you for. Okay? So tuition and fees. All right? To attend a community college or a 4-year school or Tennessee College of Applied Technology or any school here in the state of Tennessee or beyond, these schools are going to charge you a tuition and fees. And they're going to charge you tuition fees each semester beyond that. So much like your mom and dad has to pay their cable bill or their electric bill or their water bill each month, that college is going to charge you at the beginning of each semester tuition and fees that you will have to pay or use your financial aid that you may qualify for in order to actually attend college there that semester. This is a direct cost that each college will bill you for. Now beyond that, there's also what is called room and board. So if you choose to attend a 4-year institution, and you choose to attend a 4-year institution where you will need to live on campus or what have you, then that campus will also charge you for what's called room and board. This is in order to live in a residential hall located on that 4-year college campus. And again, it's a direct cost just like tuition fees. So just understand, these are costs that you will be billed for at the beginning of each semester, again, if you choose to specifically live on a college campus, all right? Now, indirect costs are costs to me that you just simply need a budget for. Because understand, when you attend college, you're going to have to pay more than likely for textbooks, all right? Now, I know for some of you this may be a foreign concept because currently, again, if you're a public high school student and you have a textbook in front of you, more than likely if I asked you how much does this textbook cost, you would say, well, it costs me nothing. And that's correct, right? Unless you lose that textbook, all right? But assuming you keep it, that textbook did not cost you anything. However, once you go to college, you will have to purchase those textbooks. And those textbooks can be very, very expensive, all right? Understand this is an indirect cost because you yourself are going to have to pay for that textbook. So it's not something that college is going to necessarily charge you for. It's something as you enroll in your classes, you may choose to visit the campus bookstore and buy the necessary material and textbooks for that course, or you may choose to go online to purchase a textbook. But however you may come across and purchase your textbooks, understand that is a cost that you will need to budget for. Travel. is another example of an indirect cost. Understand, specifically if you're attending a two-year community college for that first year or two, to kind of get the basics out of the way and stuff like that, you're going to be traveling back and forth from home or an apartment to campus, perhaps every day, perhaps every other day, and what's associated with that traveling back and forth? Gas, right? You're going to have to put gas in that vehicle, and this is an indirect cost that these financial aid offices use or put into their cost of attendance as well, because they understand you're going to have to, this is going to be a cost that you're going to have to pay attention to and incur as a college student year to year. So again, this is a cost of attendance, all right? So I'm going to give you some examples of cost of attendances for the current 2013-14 academic year. All right, so again, let me reemphasize this. This is current cost during the 2013-14 academic year, which means that, by the time you enroll in school, again, say the 15-16 academic year, some of these costs, may be different, all right? So at a two-year public school, like a volunteer state community college, like a Nashville State community college, a Northeast State, a Pellissippi State, a Southwest State. Again, depending on where you are located here in the state of Tennessee, most of the community colleges, you're looking at about $3,600 for the year currently during the 13-14 academic year. What this means is you would be roughly charged $1,800 each semester, okay? This $3,600 is for the year, meaning fall and spring semesters, so you'd be charged $1,800 approximately in the fall and again in the spring in terms of tuition and fees. Again, this is a direct cost. At a four-year school, and to give you a couple examples of some four-year public schools specifically here in the state of Tennessee, you have MTSU and Austin Peay, you have the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, you have the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga, and several other four-year public institutions, all right? All of them are going to be a little bit different in cost, but they're all going to be approximately close, though, in cost as well. Here, specifically, you are looking at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, which during the 13-14 academic year costs $11,194 for the year. All right, so roughly $5,500 a semester is what you would be charged in tuition and fees. Now, if you chose to live on campus in Knoxville, then your room and board would be approximately $9,000 or $4,500 a semester. Now, if you do quick math in terms of the direct costs here, you're looking at about $20,000 for 1 year of college at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, or $10,000 a semester. Those would be your direct costs if, again, you chose to live on campus in UT or at UTK to pursue your education for, again, 1 year. This is where a lot of times when I'm in the classroom, I would ask the question, how many years, ideally, will it take for you to earn your baccalaureate degree at UT or MTSU or University of Memphis, etc., and you would say 4. So understand you're looking at about this cost each year, not just for all 4 years, but again, this is for 1 year of college at a four-year public institution. My final example I have categorized as Tennessee private schools and out of state, all right? I am one that, I'm here to educate you about cost and about funding your college education, all right? It's going to be up to you, to me, the student, to determine, where you want to go to college and what makes the most sense for you and your family situation. I'm here just to lay out the facts and hopefully to educate you enough that you make the best decision for you and your future, all right? So understand that, understanding that we talk about the cost at a Tennessee private school and out-of-state institutions. And understand, these are just examples, okay? And because a lot of times when a student looks at this slide and they look and they go, oh, geez, $42,000. And yes, that's for 1 year, but that's at a specific, institution here in Tennessee. It's actually Vanderbilt University. In 13-14, Vanderbilt costs $41,928 for 1 year in terms of tuition and fees. if you chose or had to live on campus, that would be an additional $14,000 on top of just the $41,000 tuition and fees price tag. And understand, that is very, very, very expensive, all right? Do all private schools cost that? The answer is no. Do all out-of-state schools cost this? No. Are there some private schools and are there some out-of-state schools that cost more like the MTSUs and UTs of the world, the four-year public, price tags? Absolutely. This is why you explore colleges in this process, and this is why you go through this process. This is where when I talk to parents and say this. At this time when I show you this slide, a lot of parents, all of a sudden go, well, my son or daughter, they can't go there because we can't afford it. No, no, no. That's not why I show you these costs. I show you these costs to kind of give you an idea what college costs. But remember, this is prior to us even talking about financial aid, right? There are some schools that even though they have a high price tag, they offer students a lot of financial aid that in the end of this process may make them as affordable as quote unquote, some in-state public school or something like that. So, now's not the time on this slide to begin eliminating schools because of its price tag. I'm just giving you some examples, and I'm going to encourage you. This is why you go through the process. You apply to the schools that honestly you want to apply for and let the process work its way out. And then at the end, as these colleges begin communicating with you your financial aid award packages and things like that, then you can start making decisions based on whether or not you can afford school X versus school Y and things like that, okay? Last thing on this slide, I just fill in the indirect cost, and I close this slide with simply this. Hopefully I taught you that cost of attendance is to me a budget of your potential costs that you may incur for one academic year. All right, so bottom line on this slide, after you factor in some of the indirect costs that these institutions have estimated for you, bottom line, what you get is your cost of attendance. When it comes to financial aid, you may receive financial aid up to your institutionally defined cost of attendance. Now listen to me. This doesn't mean that you will receive financial aid to meet your cost of attendance, but you may, right? So in other words, you might be able to receive enough financial aid in order to cover the $60,000 plus price tag at Vanderbilt University, or the $27,000 price tag at UT, or the $12,000 price tag at your local community college. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Everyone's going to qualify for different financial aid, so not every student's situation will be the same, so just understand that. But just again realize that's the purpose of this slide, to let you know that when it comes to financial aid, you may receive financial aid up to your institutionally defined cost of attendance.